Days when nothing seems to be working right. Days when we feel distressed, overwhelmed by thoughts of fear, worry, or anxiety. It may be triggered by a challenging project at work or school that has been testing our limits, conflict with someone we love, discussions that started simple but made their way into arguments, and even those seemingly small everyday tasks like cooking or washing the dishes or cleaning our spaces, a never-ending to-do list that somehow seems to have snowballed into this tightening feeling in our gut. Day after day of frustration that have now perhaps turned into months or even years, and we wonder, is there a way out? Then a day arrives when you realize you don't have to suffer. There is light at the end of the tunnel after all. You have a choice not to suffer. You recognize that there are good days and bad days. Is it possible to actually reach a level of acceptance, a degree of self-control where we're not just tolerant, but perhaps even appreciative of the bad days, where we can smell a hint of how these not so great days can help us out in the big picture of growth? When faced with days like these, what I typically do to regain back my center is contemplate on few key life lessons that I've gathered over the years. I remind myself that everything in life is transient. Whether it's something good or something bad, it'll last only temporarily. So no matter how cliched it sounds, this too shall pass is a powerful note to self for every problem that I encounter. Our mind has a tendency to analyze, interpret, and box everything that it experiences into labels. And so sometimes it can make the situation seem much bigger than it actually is. This is mainly because we pay attention to thoughts that are not productive and that only serve to limit us. Observing this nature of the mind and knowing that this problem, no matter how disastrous it seems right now, will meet its end like all other things in life, can help us get out of the mindset of fear. Epictetus, the Stoic Greek philosopher, once said that he is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. And so, especially the days when nothing seems to be going right, we must turn our hearts towards gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful tool in our arsenal. We can use gratitude to recognize all the blessings the situation does provide. Intentionally feeling grateful for what we have instead of looking at what we lack. Now, how would that feel? This is an immensely transformative realization. When I start my practice, I first recognize how the feelings I have about the situation are only thoughts or sensations that arise and eventually fade away, perhaps in the mind or the body. Maybe it takes a few seconds, minutes, or even a couple of hours, but I see that they do eventually dissolve as soon as I attempt to just observe or witness them. I then consciously redirect my attention to the present moment and reflect on every significant aspect of this moment that makes it worth living. My loved ones whose existence I'm grateful for, access to basic necessities, the privilege of having a home, or even the subtle act of breathing, just being able to feel the connection with my breath, the feeling of being alive. As soon as we immerse ourselves in this feeling of gratitude, this feeling of being right here in this moment, being just as we are, the mind begins to quiet down, and the burdensome thoughts dissolve into the ether, and a sense of lightness emerges within us. As we do this practice, it's important to ensure that we're not comparing our situation with anyone else's to feel grateful, because that can be a slippery slope. Instead, if we do the practice being honest and authentic about what areas of our life we are truly grateful for, we'll find it more effective, even if it feels insignificant at first. And that is also better than doing the practice mechanically just to get it done. We can also try writing it in a journal if that feels more natural for us, or just contemplate. It might take a few tries for it to feel authentic, but just trying is making progress. Sometimes the negative thoughts are so overpowering that it can seem harder to attempt a practice of gratitude. In this case, we can try the body-mind connection. As we all know, our bodies and minds are connected, but it's relatively easier to train the body than the mind. And so the other thing that we can try is moving our bodies to instantly shift the energy state that we are in. In order to add some movement, you can try taking a walk in the park, or hiking, or trying some form of exercise like yoga, etc., or even dancing your heart out if that's your thing. And you can also follow this physical movement with some breathing exercises and meditation, of course. It's like box breathing or pranayama, which are different types of breathing exercises that are typically taught in yoga. And continue that with some meditation practice to further calm the mind down. This could be through a guided meditation app or on your own. Just focusing on the breath is also powerful enough to really reduce the mind momentum. If none of these seem to work, and if at some point you feel like the mental noise is too much to handle, then I highly recommend taking the help of someone you trust to help guide you to a calmer state of mind. Maybe a mental health professional, or even a counselor, or a friend, or someone you love, to help you heal. Unknowingly, in the humdrum of our daily routines, we take so many things that the universe has given us for granted. We all need gentle reminders about the abundance we do possess in our lives from time to time. Our minds are designed to create an illusion of lack, and forgetfulness of this abundance is a natural consequence that we must all face from time to time. And so, during those challenging days when negative thoughts seem to overwhelm us, it's essential to shift our focus towards gratitude, because chances are we have let our narratives become too complex. Life itself is simple, but it is the stories about the life situation that makes it seem more complex than it is. It makes us forget that it's the small things that truly matter. In moments of uncertainty or despair, let us set aside the painful thoughts and instead zoom in on the simple feeling of existing, the feeling of being alive.